You were for the invasion of Iraq.
Yes.
Can you explain that? Because I think it's really interesting to hear why and what you were hoping that would accomplish.
Yeah.
And because 9/11 really affected you.
Yeah, 9/11 really affected me, and I believed then, and I believe now, that we needed to find a way to partner with the Arab world to create consensual government. That what ailed that part of the world was a complex set of things that was producing this kind of rage and post 9/11. It was certainly there was antipathy toward America and Israel, but there's also how much they hated their own leaders, and also how much Islam needed to be reformed. That had been captured really by this, again, with this extremist puritanical cult, and the religion had become very anti-modern, anti-pluralistic, and anti-women. And so for all those reasons, I believe that we had to open a space in the heart of the Arab Muslim world where Arabs could have a free debate about the future of their faith. That was the main logic I was arguing, and why I favored the war. Why I favored, if we could, and again, I hate always to put it that way, I didn't favor war, but it was the idea that could we partner with the Iraqis, to go in there and in the heart of the Arab world, Baghdad, build a coalition, Sunni Shiites, Kurds, Turkmen, Christians, to kind of open this space. Because without pluralism, they're going to die. They were going to die. I don't regret that attitude, that feeling. I never believed it was about WMD. My view is if you're going for WMD, that's not the problem. I don't know whether there's WMD or not. So I was never I was making the liberal argument for the war. And unfortunately, it failed. And I learned a lot of lessons from that. I learned that you can have your own war in your own mind, but if the people who are fighting that war, don't share that view or don't know how to execute it, you're hostage to their behavior and their actions. And so I feel nothing but regret for the loss of life of Iraqis, of Americans. I feel nothing but regret for the loss of treasure. But I still believe that unless they come to some form of consensual politics and pluralism, you're going to have what you have in Syria today. You're going to have, what you had post-ISIS. So I was a consenting adult. This is what I believed. I believe it to this day, but I nothing but regret, obviously, for how it happened. And I just take full responsibility for my position. It's there. But I'm not going to apologize for believing what I believe. You know what I mean? I'm so regretful of the human cost of it. But look at the cost of Syria without us intervening. You know what I mean? What I mean by that, unless they get to some form of power sharing, they're going to destroy themselves. Look at the pictures of Syria today. Whatever happened in Iraq, whatever has happened in Iraq, we've overpaid for it so far. Again, first of all, in human life. Second of all, in treasure. But go ask the Kurds if they regret the war. They've been able to build a polity, pretty decent place with all its problems, not truly democratic, but pretty decent. Ask the Shia of Basra if they feel better today than they did under Saddam. Ask the Sunnis of Baghdad, and probably most of them will tell you, please bring back Saddam. So I think the outcome for them, has been a very, at best, mixed picture. But for us, obviously, the cost has been enormous, both the actual cost of the war in human lives and in treasure, and in the exhaustion it instilled in us that has really made people sour now on everything, like even in any way getting involved in Syria. So I have enormous regrets over that, but I take full responsibility. I was a consenting adult. I knew why I supported it. It was for these reasons of pluralism and democracy, and those reasons have not gone away. So for me, it was never about Bush, for or against Bush or whatever. Unless you find unless a form of pluralism takes root there politically, and unless a form of Islam that can embrace and live with the modern world takes root there, that area is going to become a giant human disaster area.
Right. Right.
And that's what it was about for me. So it'll be in every story anyone ever writes about my career, but that's where I was coming from, and I take full responsibility. I write whatever you want about me, but just don't write that I wasn't thinking about it.